And happy Sunday. This is PFG Live. I'm Spencer Webb. I'll be your host today. As if you had a choice. Exciting day today. We've got a couple of topics. The smallest of which is what we're going to start with. Some 3D printing stuff. And then we're going to bring in the Grandmaster himself, Tom Lipton, to talk about why he has a more surface plate the size of my house. So, good morning. DBX is checking in from near White Plains, reporting variable winds at 5 knots, 10-mile visibility, and clear. Temperature 272.11. Evils is checking in from Ghent, Belgium, and he's reporting that it's 22.3 degrees and 14.7 something else. Josh says the audio is check. Robert Simpson says 70 degrees Fahrenheit and overcast north of Detroit, but not quite to the Arctic Circle. Let's see, who else is checking in here? Right here in Windham, New Hampshire, it's 81. Let me say that again slowly so I can enjoy it. 81 degrees Fahrenheit, 41% relative humidity, winds out of the southwest at 5. Carl Tauber from the People's Republic of Rhode Island checks in at 76 degrees Fahrenheit, sunny, and 60 degrees dew point in Rhode Island. It's almost like summer. WidgetWorks says it's 16 degrees science and cloudy in Edmonton, Alberta, Canuckistan from the snow Mexico. The snow Mexico. I like that. Unix Carbide in the Williamsburg, Brooklyn reports 24 degrees science indoors, 14.23% relative humidity in the filament chamber. Josh is in southern Manitoba, gives us a METAR from Charlie X-Ray Mike Delta, reporting at 1700 Zulu, automatic. Winds are 180 at 15, gusting 20. Temperature 24, dew point 11. Remarks, peak wind at, 020 at 16. I think I'm reading that wrong. Doesn't matter. Let's see. Tuck is reporting from the Buffalo, 69 degrees Fahrenheit and raining in Buffalo, New York. QD Smits is reporting from Echo Hotel Kilo Delta. Look that up. He's reporting automatic report 340 at 7 knots, winds 290, variable 040, and visibility unlimited. Overcast at 2400, temperature 13, dew point 08, altimeter 1023 for you guys on the other side of the pond. Oh, that's Decoy. Oh, I don't know how to pronounce it. Decoy Airfield Den Helder Naval Air Station. Pixels reporting 95. Let's listen carefully, people. 95 degrees Fahrenheit, 48% relative humidity in San Antonio, Texas. Now I want barbecue. Let's see. Everybody, Discord is heavy today and YouTube is light. What is going on here? And I would welcome a weather report from the wilds of California if we only knew anybody there. Proteum Machining has shown up. Welcome, sir. Robin is in the chat. Welcome, sir. So in the Discord, I want to welcome, of course, Ox Tools, Unix Carbide, Tucker, Almost Machining, Evils, Josh, Carl Tauber, Robert Simpson, QD Smits. You guys are jumping around on me. WidgetWorks, Robin Renzetti, Daniel F, Pixel, DBX, that's Proteum Machining, Rod, 824, and Bill Only. Welcome everybody for a gorgeous Sunday here in the wilds of the internet. So when we last met our heroes, I was messing around with the FormLabs printer, and to celebrate the new Form 4, I designed a little widget, which is to support the Molly sticks that I'm selling. So it has nomenclature on it. It says molly.gg on it, and the Molly stick snaps in here, and it prevents your Molly stick from falling into the scrap bin. You could snap it in there and put it in your toolbox. So I had all sorts of ideas. I thought, hey, we could do a double sticky tape on the back, so it's 1 inch wide for 1 inch wide double sticky tape. I said we could put magnets on the back so that you can put it in your toolbox and it won't go anywhere. And I got all fancy. The problem is that when you oh, by the way, Art That Makes Art, also known as Wes, is here, and he reports the following weather: hot in Idaho. Welcome, sir. John Thawley is here, 65 degrees Fahrenheit, cloudy and calm in the OC. Welcome, sir. So, Robin says, hi, Tom, by the way. I don't know if you saw that. So I designed this cool thing. It works awesomely well. Okay. And by the way, I think I showed this. The Saga pen I discovered is exactly the same diameter, 3/8 of an inch as the Molly sticks. So it's also a Saga pen holder, but not officially. So when you go to print this thing, because it has detail all over the place, in resin printing, you have to make a raft, and then it has all these supports, and it gets held at a funny angle, and it prints beautifully. Here's the problem. It gets tall when you do that, and that takes time. So it's a longer print, which is fine. It also uses about 9 milliliters of resin. Well, if you could print it flat, in which case you give up this cool details on the back for the magnets and the nomenclature and stuff. If you could print it flat, you could use 1/2 the resin and print it flat on the build plate. So I did that. I said, yay. So I go into preform, and I lay the thing flat on the build plate, and I said, go. And it did all the right stuff, started a print. I was all excited. I only printed 2 of these guys, not a full plate's worth. When that was all done, I ran downstairs and I looked inside, and I had nothing. So I'm like, what the hell happened? Well, I had material stuck to the bottom of the reservoir, which is where the light exposes the resin, and nothing on the build plate. And I was bummed. So I actually got on the horn with one of the, I went through standard customer service protocol, and I got a very nice customer service person, and they said, let me try that on my end. And they tried it on their end. This is down at FormLabs, and sure enough, it didn't work. So then they said, I was doing it at 50 micron layers. They said, why don't you do it at 100 micron layers, and let's compare notes. So I did it at 100 micron layers. Same results. Now the Form 4 does this little trick where you could print what's called a cleaning sheet, in which case you take stuff off, you close the thing, and then it exposes the entire bottom of the reservoir, and then it tells you it's done, and you go in there and you pick up the corner of the sheet and you peel it off the bottom. And what it does is it picks up any debris and it cleans the bottom of the tank. It's actually pretty cool. But it uses some resin, and we cleaned it up. I went ahead and did it again at 100 microns. I had to go through the same process. I cleaned it up. So I go back to them, and but then I got an idea, and I said, you know what? Tom Lipton, a guy you should be familiar with, Tom Lipton challenged the world a while ago to do the 5-block test on their grinder to show that you have a flat chuck and your system is able to produce, parallelism across the entire chuck. And I participated in that, and I posted a video, and that's on my YouTube channel somewhere. Well, I remember this, and I say, you know what? This is a perfect scenario where I can do the 5-block test, and except I could do it for the FormLabs printer. So I did that. Now, I sent an email to this customer service person, Dominique. Hello, Dominique. And and told Dominique what I was doing, and went ahead and I printed 5 of these little widgets. Now, these are 5 little blocks with a circular boss. And Ox Tools, your testing is loud and clear on the YouTube chat, by the way. So this is on a raft with supports, but it's dead level. I did this because I knew this would print, and this is what we needed. So after you print these widgets, you end up with a measurement of from the bottom of the tank, which is the button, right? There we go. From the bottom of the tank to the back, which is the build plate. And I did this 5 times in the traditional pattern of a 5-block test. The results were an extreme delta of 4.5 thousandths of an inch. Now, can we just stop here for a minute and realize that this is a 3D printer? And it maintained within 4.5 thousandths of an inch across the surface. So I go back to Dominique and I say, look, I don't think this is the problem. And Dominique says, well, I want you to go through the alignment procedure and it'll fix a bunch of stuff. I said, fine. So I go through the alignment procedure, and the alignment procedure is actually pretty stinking interesting. Let's see, get you a picture here. You basically put these little shims down on the optical output of the unit after you remove the reservoir, the tank, and you pull a little tool kit out of the back of the printer. I'll point out that this tool kit is made on a Form Fuse printer using selective laser sintering. It's actually pretty cool. So you take that and then you go ahead and you hit a button in this procedure, and it brings the build plate down after you've loosened the screws, which control like a ball head, right? And then they tell you after it comes down, hold it against the shims and then go ahead and tighten it up, and you're done. It's an easy procedure. Well, instead of printing my parts, which is what Monique told me to do, I went ahead and I ran a second 5-block test. And here's the results. In fact, I got the results about 20 minutes ago. And the results of the second 5-block test after the adjustment was an extreme spread of 3 thousandths of an inch. I don't think I really changed the situation. So the next thing that's about to happen is to retry my parts at 100 micron layers and see if I could print directly to the bed. I'll be very happy if we can. So the goal is to get these little parts that hold the molly sticks printed in quantity, relatively inexpensively, and those will be part of the packaging for the molly sticks as they go out the door. Also, if you bought molly sticks before I get my act together here, at no cost to you, I will send you one of these cool holders for each molly stick you bought. So don't worry. So that's a story on the 5-block test, for which I will blame Tom Lipton without apology, because he taught me something and we applied it to a different technology, and it was pretty cool. So let's see. We didn't get CJ Stevens checked in here. He says, hello, 73 degrees Fahrenheit and rainy in East Tennessee. I hope everyone is doing well. Thank you, CJ. Welcome aboard. Protea Machining says 3 thousandths is more than I would have expected, at least as a percentage of layer height. Yeah, so this is the question, and I will report back. Yeah, I'll report back. I should be able to do this, because right over here, right on my left, are examples of sample parts from FormLabs that have a large chamfer on the side, okay? And you can see, if you're on video and you've got a good monitor, you can see the little elephant's foot at the bottom, which is unavoidable and expected. But these parts were printed flat on the bed. So it is possible, and we will figure it out. Greg Koenig, welcome aboard. He says it's 64 and rainy in the mountains south of Portland, Oregon. Isn't it always raining in the mountains south of Portland, Oregon? That's what I was led to believe. So that's the update on the Form 4. Overall, like for normal printing, it's been awesome. It's a wonderful machine, and it's super fast, and I'm very happy. Also, shout out to the Warren, Ohio. I didn't bring their plaque up. Oh, I'm so bummed. Warren, Ohio First Robotics team who bought my Form 3. They were doing a competition about an hour and a half from here, and they said, hey, we're going to be an hour and a half from you. Could we buy your Form 3? And I said, yes. So I took care of them, and they came over yesterday, and hi, guys. You're awesome, and I hope you make some parts. I told them that one of the requirements was they send me pictures of parts that they make. So that will be coming soon. So at this time, I would like to turn on some audio here for the Discord server. And I would like to welcome the Honorable Tom Lipton. Welcome aboard, sir.
Greetings.
I hear you and everything.
That's good.
How are you?
Good.
It's been months.
So I see. I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Quickly.
Sure.
The Discord chat that you're displaying on the sidebar.
Yes. So the way you get that,
yes,
is while you're in PFG.Live stage, right? In the upper right-hand corner, you should see a little symbol that looks like a speech bubble. And if you click that, it'll open.
Oh, show chat.
There you go.
Show chat.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Listen, people, we're doing this live.
There we go.
We're training as we go. Okay, just do not stick thumb into bandsaw. That is not. Do not do that.
Okay. I feel whole now.
Okay, good. So what's the weather there? We didn't get a weather report from you, sir.
Yeah, it's I don't know, 70 degrees, sunny, nice, a little cooler than it was yesterday. It's ramping up for
hotness, huh?
Solar solar furnace activities, but
and you're inland.
It's
you're
okay
inland
today.
now, right? So it gets warmer there.
Yeah.
So when we
does.
last met our heroes, by the way, I'm representing today. I don't know if you saw this. I have my Ox Tools shirt on.
That's great.
And I have
Thank
not.
you.
I am still unincarcerated, so I consider that a win. So let's see. Last time we talked, you were working on the EDM. You were getting moved into the shop. You intimidated me on live national broadcast with your with your interview questions. Oh yeah, everybody remembers the interview questions. You don't remember the interview questions?
Oh, right. The technician interview questions.
You simultaneously embarrassed me and scarred me for life, and you don't remember. It's okay. I'm not. It's not a requirement that you remember.
You know, I just do it and it happens.
It was awesome. People have been talking about it, and several are
really. Oh my god.
Yeah, several are still in therapy. So hello, Tobbs checks in. He says, I'm late, but couldn't miss this one. Hello from Germany with a lot of rain. Welcome, Tobbs.
Welcome. Greetings.
So what's happening with you these days? How's things?
Oh, things. Yeah. I mean, I'm still here, and some kind of I don't know, life events have been taking some of my time. So, my parents are older, and now I only have one parent. So it's that kind of stuff.
I hear.
So anyway, it's part of life. It wasn't unexpected, and moving on now.
All of our hearts are with you, sir.
Yeah.
So. What's going on with the EDM? I don't want to get all technical here, but
So I just changed the battery on it again a couple of days ago. I looked at I put a date tag on them when I do them, and um, so I haven't done anything for a while on it, and but I had a thing I wanted to do the other day, and I was like, you know what, I really need to finish this up and get it operational, and I have quite a few friends that keep pinging me because they have little jobs too, right? So it's
Yeah. Well, hey man.
yeah, like, hey, how's that thing going, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just asking
So
because I'm curious. Not that I have a
no,
project
no,
for you.
it's fine, and I'm pretty sure once I get it going, I'm going to find all kinds of reasons to run it, and so I've been plowing the manual actually, just not with any particular. It's kind of how I start a study problem, right? Is you just start immersing yourself in the information, and you never know what quite sticks, right? But when you have later on, when you get more serious about it, a lot of that stuff is kind of on the hard drive, so to speak, right? And you'll go, oh wait, I saw something in the manual about that. Let me go dig for that, right? And um, so that's what I've been doing in preparation to get it going. And I cleaned off all the old. It had it has like THK linear rails, on all the axes, right? And but when I took the covers off, all the grease was um, pretty crispy looking, and not super happy. So and it was a pain in the neck to clean off because the access is terrible, and without taking the machine all the way apart, which I wasn't wanting to do. So I got that cleaned off, cleaned the ball screws, all that, and then of course it's got some special grease that they recommend, and so I sourced that and found that, and now I'm working up a scheme how to reach in there to lube them up properly, right? So, but
Am I remembering correctly that it was a Fanuc control on that?
correct, yeah, yeah.
So at least it's not. I mean, that part of it's not too much of a mystery, right? It's fairly standard.
No, it's yeah. I mean, it's fairly familiar, but EDM is significantly different than CNC or lathe programming, right? There's you use macros to do skim cuts and multiple passes and things like that, and then the control or the machine has kind of internal settings for different materials that you call up, and that change the voltage and the current and whatnot while you're cutting, or depending on the cutting conditions, things like that. So um, it's there's more going on. So I one of the things I've been doing is scanning some of this guy's old programs in the control, right? And sure, there's your recognizable linear moves and corners and stuff like that, right? And radii, and then there's all this other gobbledygook that's calling sub programs that you got to go look for the sub program, and then the macro. What's the macro doing here, right? And so it's
I think it's great that the previous owner is helping to train you.
yeah, no kidding, right? And it's well, I'm just pleased that I didn't have to reload all the parameters and do all that stuff. And
Did you back
I don't
up?
know.
Did you back up your parameters?
Yeah, I got them backed up.
Okay.
The well, I don't remember if I probably told the full story, but just real quickly, when I first heard about this machine, like, I don't know, 4 years ago now, or 5 years ago almost, right? I went and looked at it and fired it up at the time, and it hadn't been run in a while. And but it came up, and the control came up, and all that, and everything worked right. Um, I brought a battery with me, and and I swapped the battery while I was there, right?
That's
And
smart.
before I even made an offer on the machine, right? And I said, well, and because it hadn't been running for some time, right? This lady's dad had died a couple years before, so I think I got it right, right at the cusp there.
Yeah.
But so I swapped the battery, and then went away and thought about it, and emailed her, made her an offer, and at the time she wasn't interested in my offer, and I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. So I planted a little tree and I put some water on it, and then hung up the phone, right? So 2 years later, she calls me and says, "Hey, you still want that?" And
I forgot it was 2 years. Oh my gosh.
yeah, it was 2 years. Yeah,
Wow.
and so I said, "Yeah, I'm still interested. I want to come up and fire it up again, right? And to make sure that it isn't dead, right? And look at it, and she says, "Yeah, fine, come up." So I fired it up again, and it was fine, and then we made the deal. And then I don't know, it took me a couple of months to get it out of there because at the time it was logistically a problem. But anyway, so it's landed, it's set up, and I'm about to order some resin for the deionized water thing, and some filters, and some other
I was just about to ask
stuff.
you. I was just about to ask you about consumables. Like, what do you need to have around? And that's a couple of things right there.
Sure, yeah. There's the DI resin. It lasts for a while, but depending on what you're cutting, the filters can go pretty quick. Aluminum's pretty toxic to these machines. I mean, not toxic, but it contaminates the machine pretty quickly. And this guy was cutting a bunch of aluminum at some point, and he wasn't Mr. Maintenance, I can tell you that. And like Spencer is, right? So
What now? The wire that they use, is there like a zillion types of wire? I don't. I mean, I know it exists, but I don't have any feel for it.
there's quite a few different types of wire, and some machines prefer different types too. So I classify these machines as fussy machines, and in that they need you could buy the same kind of wire from 3 different distributors, and it might like one wire the best.
Wow.
And so even though functionally, they're the same.
Yeah.
And so, and depending on what you're cutting, and the cutting conditions, there's lots of choices in wires. Diameters, materials, coatings. Yeah.
So you say materials.
fact,
I thought they were they brass? What was the material generally used?
Yeah, it's brass wire, either soft or hard,
Okay.
and different diameters, and some have coatings. Some have the zinc coating they put on it. I think some are zinc coated. Then they can run tungsten wire, and I think they can even run moly wire. So for certain kinds of things, I'm not sure what you need those particular things for. But I think there was a whole bunch of wire that the guy had, and after he died, I think his son was looking for quick cash, so he took all the brass wire to the scrapyard and turned it in. Right, he saw these 20-pound spools of brass wire and said, "Oh yeah, let's cash those in for $2 a pound or whatever."
Let me guess. They cost more than $2 a pound to buy. Is that correct?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I would imagine. But
so McMaster Car sells it too. So
well, then you're done.
I'm done, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a good question. What is right?
Delivered to your door.
Okay, let's see. Hard brass. Galvanized brass, hard brass.
Holy
$300. So
wow.
Oh, that's for the coated stuff. Sorry. So uncoated brass, hard wire. What diameter there? 10 thousandths diameter, $140 for 9 pounds. So,
It's
yeah.
yeah, okay. Probably get a lot
Yes.
of cutting out
This
of it.
thing, well, we all know this is a relatively expensive hobby, so
Yeah, yes,
it's
it is.
yeah, right. I mean, just kind of across the board. So.
Yeah. When I went to this FormLabs printer and I'm using this
Hmm.
resin and the baby's first resin, the gray resin is
Hmm.
they actually lowered the price. It's now $99 a liter. And then the good
Hmm.
stuff that I use to make my, production parts is $149 a liter. So
Oh
you don't
yeah,
you don't drink it all at once. Uh,
yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
so like tool steel, like hardened tool steel for the EDM is sort of
Hmm.
kind of a no brainer, right? That's what that
That's
does.
cream cheese. In fact, they that's how they rate the machines is a particular thickness, and I think it's D2 is the one that they so they rate the cutting speed typically, and I believe it's either 1 inch or 2 inch thick D2, and so that's how the all the makers compare, apples and oranges, right?
Yep.
And well, ours does this many, inches per hour, inches per minute, or whatever, and that's the accepted standard or whatever.
What do you think your normal wire diameter for your kind of just everyday ordinary operations is going to be?
So, um, yeah, that's a good question. And I've talked to some wire folks, right? And small diameter wire is tricky to run because it's more demanding with the tension and cutting speeds. You can't tension it as much. So if you're cutting thicker material, the wire gets a belly in it from the from the travel direction
Mm.
and when you change directions. Um, so it doesn't cut as straight. And so all this comes from what kind of curve do you need and what kind of corner radii do you need, right? So I think most of us have experienced the designers that don't think about how things get made and they put sharp corners and stuff
Yeah.
and um, but my plan is to run um, probably a 8 thou wire, which is a pretty good size wire, right?
Hmm.
And with the overcut, um, you'll end up with roughly a 5 thou internal radius. Um, so if you just drive into a corner and then drive out with no circular interpolation around the corner, you get about a 5 thou corner radius, right? And so it's easy to remember, right? For one, the wire's pretty strong, so you can tension it pretty well, so it cuts real straight. So
Yep.
if you got thicker material, it cuts real straight. So if you don't really care about curves and corner radii, I mean, they run it all the way up to, I don't know, 12 or 15 thou diameter, right? And which is, in EDM world, that's like rope.
Yeah.
So, but
How
but
lo-
it gets
how
tricky when you get down.
how small did they go?
So we have a machine at work. We have a fine wire machine, and I think they can run 1 thou wire on it. So,
Wow.
and yeah, but it's really slow, and you only use it where you need to use it, right? And um, but the tension controls get more complicated, and rethreading. So these machines will automatically rethread the wire when it breaks, and pick up where they left off. So there's some pretty cool stuff.
We in the comments on YouTube we have Tobbs who asks or says, for the record, the deal with Molly wire is mostly for stability in the cut, thick materials, large tapers. At least that's what we did with it. So he's kind of
Mhm.
you know commenting on why you would have Molly wire. Interesting. And
Yeah.
and separately, and not exactly on topic, Ryan Carter says, "Tom, we love you, but I am in serious meatloaf withdrawal. I watch it whilst I give my 10-month-old son a bottle every night. Thanks." That's Ryan Carter from the Metropolis. So we need some
It's
meatloaf.
probably a good time to have one because your banner image that you used. I picked up some scrap materials recently, so that are probably noteworthy. And
the thumbnail photo, of course, was of a Moore plate that looks like I can land an airplane on it. Actually, where the heck did that come from?
Let me just tell you briefly a text exchange with Robin that I had, and so I sent him a picture of the Moore surface plate because he's a Moore fanboy big time, right?
Yep.
And he says, "Oh wow, that's really cool." And then I sent him a couple more images of some other things that I got with this whole package, and he goes, or what he said with the surface plate, he goes, he says, "I'm almost jealous," and then I sent him a couple more images, and he goes, "Okay, I'm jealous now." So it was funny.
Okay, so what's I'm looking at the picture here. I can't, unfortunately, with the setup. Well, I could hang on. I'll get you back up here. There it is. It's
yeah.
So what size is this thing?
So this is a super interesting piece. It's actually kind of a historical thing too. So its size is 48 by 48, and it's about actually I don't know what it is vertically, but it's 18 inches vertically, something like that. Wow. It weighs 2,700 pounds by itself, and it is ribbed like a monkey's uncle underneath. So it is quite the impressive piece. And so Moore used these to internal to their factory. So they designed this surface plate. They had them cast. They aged them, I guess, or whatever. You can read all about them in Foundations of Mechanical Accuracy. And it goes through the extremely extensive procedure that they use to make them super nice. And so I think Robin might have to help me on this.
Robin,
misquote here.
Robin, if you want to jump in and say anything, you are more than welcome to.
Yeah,
you're clear.
I want to say that the ultimate flatness that they were trying to achieve over this was 50 millionths flatness across the whole thing. So for a 48-inch plate, that's pretty impressive. Robin, did I get that right?
I know that Foundations of Mechanical Accuracy is within arm's reach of me.
Oh,
but
of course it is.
I will say that the one picture in Foundations of that is in the section with these plates, that's what inspired me to go purchase my 3 challenge plates and dive in and just start scraping. So that next to the Bible, that obviously is really the most influential book in my life. Really changed my life, the whole path.
I have a challenge. Go ahead, Tom.
No. What's your challenge? That's fine. I was just going to agree with Robin. So.
I think that as a group, we should get an example of everything that was pictured in that book.
Oh, okay. So what are you signing up for?
I have the rotary table. I have the more special Super Whoopie rotary table, which I bought from another guy in Massachusetts, and I have the what's the word, provenance of it. You now have a more table that has we could tell some stories, right?
Sure.
I think Robin needs a more number 3 jig bore. I think that's what he needs.
Hey. I think the only Robin doesn't have any room for a jig bore. He might be able to fit the nameplate off a number 3 jig bore into his shop, but as far as a jig bore, I don't think he's got any room for that. So,
what do you think, Robin? Do you think we can squeeze that in?
Maybe if we import another black hole into this area.
yeah, right.
A little,
Exactly right.
Nothing a little physics can't work out.
So, circling back to this thing here, so I don't believe Moore sold these publicly. So these were internal to Moore, I believe, standards that they use to manufacture pieces and parts of measuring machines and jig bores and all kinds of stuff. So I don't think they sold them on the outside. It's a money loser, actually, if you think about it, right? Yeah. And the work that goes into one of these and what you can sell it for. Well, somehow, and this particular one came out of Arizona. I think it was Arizona. Yeah, Arizona. And it showed up on a sealed bid auction for government junk. Okay. And let's see, how did I find out? Somebody sent it to me. They sent me a link to this thing, right? And they said, Tom, you should get this thing because I was in California. It was in Arizona, so there was mildly close, right, and or marginally close, and it was sitting at I don't know $500 or whatever it was sitting at, right, and so I was like, boy, I'd sure like to have that, but gee, do I want to drive down there and right? You start doing the dance, right? So I called somebody else. A friend of mine in Los Angeles, and his name is John Marcus, and he up until very recently owned a company called PTC Instruments, and they make thermometers and durometers for testing hardness of rubber. So
they have that nice.
They're the guys.
They have that nice little kit where with the
yep.
striker
hardness testers
and the
all
optical
kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So he's retired now, and he sold the business to one of his employees, and so he's kind of making his exit. Anyway, a couple of years ago, or actually quite a few now, I called him up and I said, John, you need this, and and I said it's not that far. He's in LA, so Arizona's significantly closer to him. So he bid on it. He goes, well, what should I bid for it? I said, I just bid whatever it's sitting at right now. And nobody had bid on it, right? I said, I don't think anybody's going to bid on it. They don't know what it is. It's too big for most people. It's too heavy, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, he got it for $500. And he drove his truck out there and he picked it up and he's been stacking stuff on it ever since. So
yeah, it's because it's a horizontal surface.
It's a horizontal surface, right? And this one, you see the yellow underneath there?
Yeah.
So this one has actually it's called a wiffle tree. So it has 4 3-fingered support elements underneath it that are self-aligning, and that table was designed to sit on that wiffle tree and have its accuracy when it was sitting on that particular support arrangement, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, he got this thing, and as soon as he got it home, I said, take a close-up of the surface and email it to me, right? And so the entire surface of that has the Moore pattern, half moon, beautiful scraping on it. It's just orgasmic.
Hang on. I think I just heard Robin's truck start. Was that
right? Exactly. Yeah. And it's pretty cool to look at. And what's funny is
look what I see right there. I could read it. It says 2,600 pounds.
Yep.
Yes,
that's the correct weight.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. 2,600. Yeah. And it has these trunnions on it, so you can flip it over to use it. I looked underneath. The other side is not scraped to perfection. It's just oh, here we go. Somebody is that? Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, there's the wiffle tree thing underneath, right?
Cool.
So okay, so here's a good question, Robin, for you. The yellow structure that's the wiffle trees are sitting on. So take a guess what that's made out of.
Invar.
What's that?
Invar.
Yeah, it's the kind of invar that oak trees grow.
You're kidding.
So it's oak. It's
Get
tongue
out
and
of town.
groove oak.
Wow.
Yeah, it blew me away too. Yeah. And it's like, really? Okay. Now I don't know if that was a secondary thing or they didn't get this base in this image here would look like something more would do. But I was kind of surprised to see wood under there. So
this is from a post by Harsh Little Taurus,
okay.
who is from China, and they're doing spectacular work. Basically, they're replicating all of this stuff, and they do some amazing rebuilds. But in principle, as we all know, that thing could be anything. Yeah. It has nothing to do with the precision. The 3 points that the wiffle tree assemblies sit on forms a 3-point kinematic mount, and all the wiffle tree does is provide a non-influencing uniform support in 12 places, which happen to hit actually at the ribs. They're not hitting out there on the ends where the
points are inboard slightly. Yeah.
And it's important to remember that the wiffle tree gives uniform support, but it doesn't make it any stiffer.
No,
the plate still deflects under load, but it's got a very uniform support that doesn't. It will be invariable in how it deflects under load. Uniform load or ununiform loading or uniform loading. It'll be uniform.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
So it's quite the marvel of engineering, and it's kind of a tank to move around the shop. It's on wheels. The stand's on wheels, and it can push it around barely. And
so, as pictured, that's how it lives, right? It's on that base.
Yeah.
So, what is the height of the table off the floor? Roughly.
It is just a shade below 36, I think.
That's a good height.
It's pretty good. It's a little lower than I would want for a for a bench that you're working at a lot or whatever. And but it's not bad. It's pretty good. So
that's amazing.
Yeah. So anyway,
relative to the tolerances, I just scoured through to find the actual tolerances in foundations. Just using the scraping method, checking the bearing only, they get within 50 to 75 millionths flatness. Okay. But when they start using the other things, the 3-footed twist gauge, 2-footed twist gauge, checking it in other ways, they're trying to get down to 25.
That's impressive. On a surface that large. Yeah.
Wow.
You think about two perfect planes separated by 25 millionths of an inch, right? That's tough to do. So
it is tough to do. We just got a picture posted by Harsh. Robert Simpson posted it. It's a link to Harsh Little Taurus, and it's showing the base of the platform has been cast. It is the very soul of the whole platform. They're working on it. So that's on Instagram on the Harsh Little Taurus account.
I'll have to check that one out. So I don't know if I subscribe to that one.
They're casting the box straight edges, and if you go through his post, you'll see that the actually duplicating the those straight edges and the surface plates in a grand scale, and they're serious.
Huh, that's cool. That's very cool. And where are they? Out of China?
China.
Oh, okay.
The best I know, it's China. Somebody told me that. I thought he was from Japan, but Somebody said, no, he's in China.
No, very, very cool.
So anyway, to continue the saga here, which includes some other things. So John, so he's sold his business. My friend John Marcus has sold his business, and him and his wife are following the grandkids up to Washington State. So he's moving out of California, out of LA, packing up his shop, and they bought another house up there, and they're in fact in the process of moving right now.
So he's going to wave. He's going to wave at you as he goes by.
Literally, right? And but as part of that, he says, "Tom, bring your truck down. I have a pile for you." Okay, a pile of stuff, and so we went back and forth, and then so finally I had some time that I could pull away and go down there. I stayed for a couple nights, and we had a lot of fun. But I brought my big 1-ton truck and a trailer and came back fully loaded. And
that was I have some stuff for you.
I have some stuff for you. That's right. And the surface plate was one of them. And so I came back with about 7,000 pounds of stuff. So, and I said, John, I said, what? He goes, what am I going to do? What am I going to do with it? You're the best person to take it. I don't want it anymore. Take it. Right. I'm like, all right. So, and then, yeah, right. So as part of this is one of those images I sent you is the tabulation sheet for a Moore rotary table.
Yeah, it's right here.
Which was part of the So that's the calibration tag.
I recognize it.
Yeah. So there was a Moore rotary table in its original factory box, and with a tailstock of all things. Okay, and didn't know they made a tailstock for those. And
so it's a special.
Yeah, I think they're all specials pretty much. So
okay, we have to talk because
what's your serial number compared to this one?
I will get back to you on that. But it's very close because 1963 sounds. No, actually, it's a little younger than mine. I think mine was 58.
Okay.
But we'll talk. And the fact that it says LRT, it says LRT 928. That's a special serial number because they were in 4 digits on those.
Okay,
we'll figure it out.
That's a 2 arc second. That's a 2 arc second version of the rotary table. So if you look at the maximum error of the gear is 1.2, and then the 0.3, that those combined give you a 2 arc second. That's what we had on our measuring machine, was a 2 arc second version, and then there's the coarser version, which I don't know I forget what the tolerances are on the standard one, but that may be special for other reasons, but the 2 arc second was a standard available item on the highest precision worm drive.
It's interesting. I've never seen one of the quote unquote crude ones in the wild. So all I've ever seen is specials. So
I think 6
high accuracy one.
I think 6 was the standard, and then
was it? Okay.
I think the one I got is a 3. This looks even tighter. So I'm feeling I'm feeling a little sad now. I'm not gonna lie.
So this one had a tailstock with it too, which was and the sign plate that goes with it, so you can mount it to the sign plate. And so
I'm out.
Yeah, so now you know why. Now you know why Robin said, now I'm jealous. Okay, so and this was like he was just gonna whoever showed up first was going to get it, right? Or it was going in the dumpster. I don't know what. So I don't think he was going to put this stuff in the dumpster, but somebody would have taken it. I don't know. So anyway, this was in my pile.
So I have in email and elsewhere. I made contact with somebody at Moore who found the notebook, which was the outgoing shipping information on the rotary tables, and we found mine. Okay.
Oh.
And if this isn't on the same page, I bet you I can email the guy and get the same information for you.
Okay. It would be cool to see where it went.
Yeah, we could figure that out.
Originally and all that. That's kind of fun to for companies that actually keep good records, right? It's kind of fun to, that went to Kodak or Mattel or or Xerox or something like that, right? And
it was a handwritten note from 1958, and the guy got back to me in under 48 hours with a photo of the notebook. That was amazing.
Oh wow! That's
so I'll hook you guys up.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fun. And then the other thing that was with us was a slot grinding attachment for a jig grinder, and so this you can grind a vertical keyway in a using a let's see, can you use it in a jig bore? I don't know. I think you have to. Actually, I don't know that. I'd have to look at foundations and see. But anyway, it's for grinding slots in a bore, right? And which is something I never want to have to do. Which is, a lot of that's probably been eliminated by wire EDM, for example, and
right.
And then the other more piece was a cylindrical grinding attachment for a surface grinder. So kind of like the Herrig setups, but the more version of that.
Oh, that would be lovely. Nice.
Yeah. But well, I have a Herrig version that works pretty good, and it's reasonably handy for how much of that I have to do. So.
Yep. Well, that's quite a haul, and you know what? Yeah. Your buddy was right to call you. We had a comment here from Unix Carbide. He says, "Don't you only call a friend when you want him to say yes?"
Yeah, right. Well, or not say no, right?
Not say no, right?
Right. It's like, and then I'm down there, right, and I'm, I was helping him pack some stuff up and whatnot, and he's got this huge metal rack, right? And I said, what's up with the, what are you doing with the all this stuff? He goes, going to the scrapper. I go, what? And I said, hold up. I said, really? He goes, yeah, take whatever you want. And I'm like, John, are you kidding? Right? And
I assume everything was labeled, right?
Reasonably well, right? Yeah. But there was too much, so I took all the aluminum basically that was in the rack. So he had aluminum rounds and some rectangles and flat bars and stuff like that. And there's a lot of steel, some little bit of brass, and so that made up a significant part of the load. So and I don't know, it took me a better part of a week to saw it up and into lengths that I could store, and then I made like 8 care packages for local friends, right? That fit in flat rate boxes, right? And
well, that's
and, send them some chunks and stuff. So it's
awesome story
about the universe. Yeah.
It's an awesome story, an awesome rescue mission, because some of this more stuff is just, I think, is priceless. I mean, they're not exactly making it again, right? So Unix Carbide asks, one more question on that Moore plate. What is sitting on it right now?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
He knew to ask the question.
No, that's good. That's pretty shrewd. and you guys will love it because it's perfect. There is a decal single lip grinder sitting on top of it. That was also part of this lot.
Oh,
And
man.
and the other thing that's super interesting is a Hilger Watts measuring machine that weighs about, I don't know, 300 pounds, 400 pounds, something like that. And it's for measuring um, ring gauges, I think, is what it looks like it's kind of set up for. It's ID and OD measurements, and but it's a kind of an optical. I don't have a good picture of it, or maybe I do. Hold on. Um, it's um, it's quite an engineer. The Hilger Watts thing. It's a cool study in precision engineering, right? So here's this big machine, and it's got a stage, a XY Z theta stage, right? On it, and then a couple of linear axes that are not air bearings, but they move like air bearings. And it's kind of a journal and shaft or assembly, right? But it moves like an air bearing, but it's not an air bearing. So it's that's what's sitting on the table.
Well, thank goodness it ended up in your shop, frankly, because this stuff, where's it going to go? Right? Who's going to
Yeah, right.
Who's going to even know what they're looking at?
Yeah.
So here's a picture. WidgetWorks has posted a picture. Is that the Hilger Watts WidgetWorks?
That is pretty close. I think that's a newer version. I'm sending Spencer an image right now.
How are you sending it?
Text. That's the easiest. So
I might be able to drag it over.
okay. Anyway, yeah, it's that looks like a newer version of it. So see, it has an optical element on the left-hand side there, and then it has a stage kind of in the middle with some arms. Yeah, that's just a newer version of it there, and it's pretty cool.
Believe it or not, we got it.
Oh, really? Okay.
There it is.
And there's some of the accessory arms in the package, and some of the lighting transformers, and yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, those are the arms. Yeah, there's the optical bit and some of the accessories and stuff. But I'm donating that to Adam Ballog over at Laney, and well, like you said, you call your friend that can't say no.
Can't
right?
say no, right?
You won't say no, right?
But also from an educational point of view, I think it's a great piece. Holy cow!
Well, yeah, he's into that kind of stuff, and I said, listen, you may or may not want to resurrect it, and but if nothing else, it just by looking at the design of all the different elements and how they've done this stuff, it's an excellent analog learning device that for understanding those things, right? And how do you make a good circular clamp that doesn't influence the measuring rod when you snug it down, right? And those are non-trivial things when you're talking small measurements, right?
We have a comment from,
as Robin says, everything's rubber.
Everything is rubber. Tucker says, if you ever see or hear anything on the East Coast, I'm sure Spencer or I would be interested in not saying no.
Okay, well, watch out.
Yeah, be
watch
careful,
out what you
dude.
Wish for. Be careful what you wish for.
That's kind of how I ended up with the rotary, the more rotary table, and it came out of MIT Instrumentation Labs via Draper, via a contractor who was called in to clean out their stuff, Brother Machinery, which I think is not around anymore. And then it went to this guy who's a doctor at Harvard, Medical Center, and then it went to this other guy, and then it went to me. It's like we're just stewards of this stuff, right?
So you just reminded me of another recent occurrence that's actually a good story. You guys will like this. Um, it's, you meet one of the reasons that I like YouTube and all that is for some of the people that I've met, right? I don't like YouTube as a company or Google as a company necessarily, but it's opened the door to meeting, folks like that are on this live stage, right? And people of similar interests and appreciations and all that. So some of you guys know that I also have an Instagram page that uh, needs maintenance. But um, the other the other day, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, I noticed a new subscriber, um, and the only reason I notice it is I recognize the name, right? And um, I don't know if anybody here is familiar with Bob Kramer, Kramer with a K, and so he makes knives and he makes custom knives. And he's up in Washington State, and it's bobkramerknives.com if you want to go look at it, which is pretty cool. And this is a guy that, I don't know, 20 odd years ago or whatever, decided to make very high end kitchen knives, okay, like chef's knives and stuff like that. And so, like a lot of us, yeah, kramerknives.com, there it is. And um, he, I think he was basically a beginning blacksmith, right? And but he had a background in, I guess he taught at, I don't know, professor level somewhere, I don't know what. So he knew how to dive into a subject, right? So he just kind of immersed himself and started making these knives, right? And he went to the knife shows, and all the knife people laughed at him. Oh, what are you making kitchen knives for, right, or whatever, blah blah blah. Anyway, he kind of persevered, and now he is pretty famous. And so he subscribed to little old Tom's Instagram page, and I said, "Geez." So I direct messaged him. I said, "Hey, thanks for the sub, and I've followed your work for years, and I appreciate your dedication to the trades, right? And because he's really into that part of it, right? Well, guess he answered me back. He answered me back, and so apparently he's working on, and I won't mention it because I don't know if it's public knowledge, but he, guess what, caught the lapping bug. He caught the lapping disease, right? And
for which there is no cure.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. This is terminal, right? And so we had a good laugh, and he goes, my God, he goes, what can I do to get a monochromatic light, and not break the bank, right?
Yeah.
So I have a data dump that Adam Balog put together on a DIY solution for monolights, right? Which is really good. You can build one for like $40, right? And it's beautiful, right?
I think we link to it. I think we link to it on pfg.gg/links. There's a link that says monochromatic rabbit hole, and I think on that sub page, I think we have a link to his stuff.
Yeah, and he did a nice write up of the thing, and it gives several different possible solutions depending on what you feel like doing, right? So I sent him that, and then what was the other thing? Oh, these USSR optical flats that are quite the bargain on eBay, right?
Yep.
And so the other thing I mentioned was that I don't do a lot of lapping anymore, or much lately anyway. Not anymore, I shouldn't say that, but lately. And what I really like are these diamond impregnated hard anodized laps, right?
Mm-hmm.
I bought some at work, and I picked up a couple on eBay, and for just a quick lapping job, and they are wonderful, and they're quick and they're fast, and there's no fussing around. Anyway, I mentioned these laps to Bob Kramer, right? And he says, "Okay, well, I'll look at all the stuff you sent me. Thanks a lot, right?" And
We have two people, by the way,
so
that came in. Greg
Ablap, there you go, right?
Ablap. Greg and Robin both came in with Ablap.
Yeah, Ablap, and then there's another one, UHL Technologies, and they happen to be in the same state, so I think it was a case of somebody working for somebody else, and then figured out how to make them, and went off and made them on his own. Train your competition, right? Kind of a thing. But so this is leading up to the second half of the story, right? And so what the heck was it? Somebody sent it to me. Oh, somebody sent it to me. One of the Brotherhood sends me a Craigslist link. Hey, here's some of these diamond laps on Craigslist down in Mountain View, right? And I went, oh shit, look at that, right? And excuse my French. I said, oh man, look at that, right? And I said, huh, I wonder if Bob would be interested in those. And so I sent him the link, and he goes, and I said, hey, listen, you might contact the guy, and it was a bargain price, okay? And I said, you might contact the guy, and if you pay him a little extra, maybe he'll pack them up and throw them in a flat rate box and mail them to you, right? So he goes, hey, I'm going to go for it, right? And so he contacts the guy, and then, Craigslist is kind of an odd experience, right? The guy kind of disconnected from him a little bit. So anyway, I reached out and said, hey, you still got those laps, right? And he goes, yeah, I still got them. So you guys know Chuck Bomarito? Has he ever been on here?
Oh yeah, I know Chuck, but he's not been a
Chuck?
guest.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, guess where Chuck lives? Chuck lives in Mountain View.
that's right.
So phone a friend, Chuck, you feel like going on a seagull run? And he goes, where am I going?
Yeah,
Right.
There's only one
And,
answer to that question.
Hey, where am I going? How much money do I need? I go, put $200 in your pocket, and here's the guy's name. Here's the address. Go buy these plates, right? And oh yeah, it's
awesome.
Like I said, it's a whole network, right? And I hope everybody's listening here, right? And because I think of all you guys that are in the Brotherhood here, right? And so if you know where people live, right? You go, oh hey. Oh, Spencer's in New Hampshire, right? This guy, and then you look on the map and you go, where's that? Oh, this little oh, it's only like 8 miles from Manchester. Okay, and okay, hey, can you go look at this thing, right?
Yeah.
So anyway,
By the way, that
Chuck goes and buys.
It also applies to non-lapping items.
Sure, we're not just talking.
There are other
here.
items.
Talking,
I'm just pointing that out.
right. Keep in mind, this is shippable items, right? So anyway, so Chuck goes and buys the plates, and then finally we meet up, and I get the plates, and then I mail the plates to Bob Kramer, and he's doing backflips, right? And he's super happy, and anyway, it all worked out. He got some cool lapping plates. And then a couple days later, a box shows up in my mailbox, and it's one of Bob's knives. He sent me one of his knives as a thank you. Now, it wasn't one of his super fancy ones. It was one of his production ones, which is still a really nice knife. And now we're going to circle into metallurgy here. It's made out of 52-100 steel. Ta-da.
Ta-da.
So, how's that for closing the circle there, Spencer?
Nice job there, bud.
Yeah, nice job, huh? Pretty good.
That is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, so now I have a Bob Kramer knife, and I love it. It's awesome, and it is wicked sharp, and will take a wicked sharp edge. it's 62 Rockwell, which is pretty hard for a knife.
That's
and,
right up there.
A knife that has a thin edge, right? And
is
but
this
that's part of what?
a chef's knife?
Yeah, yeah,
Very nice.
yeah. It's like a 10-inch, 10 or 12-inch chef's knife. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So
WidgetWorks.
So WidgetWorks says 52-100 for a knife. Yes.
Yeah,
it's got 1% carbon in it. It does have some drawbacks as a kitchen knife because it will stain.
Yeah.
And but the strong suit of it is it will hold an edge, and you can harden it hard. And 52-100 is a nice, reasonably non-distorting steel, right? I can't remember the total composition of it. I want to say it has a little bit of chromium in it or something.
I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's a very simple. It's a very simple formulation that's been around since the dawn of time.
Well, if it's good enough for Johansson and Gates blocks, it's good enough for me. They make ball bearings out of it too.
Yeah,
because it's very stable, and I think it has some. And Robin might back me up on this. It has some qualities. The composition has some qualities that are more resistant to Brunelling, I believe, but don't quote me on that. So.
Well,
that's just
it hardens
memory.
quite nicely, and it cryos quite nicely. Mm-hmm. I've been having fun with it. My project on 52-100 is moving very slowly because of other things, but it is a joy to work with. Well, we brought it right around, and we're past the top of the hour, which means officially my landlord is waiting to pull a rug out from under me here, so we better wrap it up.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for having me, and that was fun, and you guys let me brag a little bit about my haul, which is always fun to.
What an awesome story!
That was pretty good. Pretty good.
All right. Well, we'll say goodbye to everybody from here, and thank you very, very much, Tom. We'll look forward to having you again. Thanks to everybody in the wings, especially Robin, who came in with an audio question. And if you guys need something flat, head over to, it's over there, PFGstones.com. We're now shipping little sticks of molybdenum, pure molybdenum, for your dining pleasure. And we'll see you guys next week. And remember to get flat and stay flat. Thanks, Tom.
All right.
Doink, doink.